Hello my friends, if we are meeting for the first time, my name is Joe. I have a small business selling 3D printed exhaust solutions, primarily for the Glowforge laser cutter. If you want to check out kind of an inside look at my business, I have a 3D printing farm tour video here if you want to check that out. In 2020, I did 100,000 in sales. In 2021, I did 150,000 in sales. But I know a guy getting on YouTube telling you how he made hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales isn't really helpful, and it's very unrelatable. I can't relate to those videos myself when I see them. So my goal here is hopefully just to give a very down-to-earth video that the average ordinary person can relate to. This is not going to be a formula by any means, but I'm just going to kind of peel back the curtain and just show you what that first $5,000 looked like for me. So I bought a Creality CR10 back in early 2018 to pursue a product idea that I had. I've always been kind of more on that product invention idea kind of spectrum. That product idea didn't pan out, and now I had a $400 printer sitting on my kitchen table collecting dust. It was sitting on my kitchen table because my wife and I live in a small one-bedroom apartment at that time, and there was nowhere else to put it. So I figured, heck, let me at least try and get my money back on this printer. So me just being a lay person, not having any marketing experience whatsoever, I figured, heck, let me just put an ad on Craigslist and see if I can get any side jobs to make money with this thing. This is the original ad that I put up on Craigslist over 3 years ago. 3D printing prototyping services. Need to 3D print something but don't want to get charged an arm and a leg? I'm not a business, I'm just a regular dude who loves designing and prototyping things. I recently bought a 3D printer and thought I'd give others the chance to bring their passions to life while I'm not using it. Shoot me an email of what you want to print and we'll work out a price. So this just made sense in my mind, just doing something simple. I don't have a business name, I don't have a logo, I don't have any of that stuff. I'm just starting super simple. So once I put my ad up, I think it was $5 to put it on there. It's on there for 30 days. You just keep renewing it. I got requests from a whole spectrum of different projects, from Dungeons and Dragons miniatures, Star Wars figures, parts for RC carts, individual invention ideas, Arduino enclosures, and one lady that asked if I could print adult toys. I didn't even want to know what kind of weird stuff she was into, so I'm like, I'm not interested. I don't even want to know. So a whole huge spectrum of different projects, right? So I had that sitting on there. Not a whole lot was going on with it. A lot of requests for little toys and stuff. I start doing those. They suck. They suck bad. They're super detailed. I can't get that kind of detail on my CR10. You need a resin printer. I don't even know what a resin printer is at that point. I just started learning 3D printing myself. Supports, trying to clean it up for the person, and these people only want to pay $10 for a really complex model, and that barely doesn't even cost, like, you know, cover like gas and just my time, more importantly, to go meet you halfway at some gas station to do the exchange. So early on I realized that individuals who want little toys and figures, not my clients. I need businesses. I want a business who has money and hopefully who has repeat work for me. So after having my fishing line in the Craigslist pond for about 3 months, I got my first real client. His name was Tom, super cool guy, reached out to me. He has a comedy club, and he has these little LED light pucks that shine light through a little piece of acrylic to display his logo. He has these things on every table. Really cool, but the only problem is when people are at these high tops, that LED light kind of shines up in their eyes. And so he asked if I can make some little cap to go on the top of that piece of acrylic so it doesn't kind of blind customers when they're at their tables. And so he needed me to create a little model, super simple. I'm using SketchUp at the time. And I forget exactly what I charged, but I think it was like maybe $2 or something. Nothing crazy, but it was still worth my time because I loaded up my printer, you know, with a whole bunch of these and just let it rip overnight. So he's got about 60 tables at his comedy club, and he needs 60 of these little things. So I'm like, all right, right on, totally cool. I got my first real client who needs a lot of these projects, and it's pretty simple. So I do that, and then that's over. About a month or two later, he comes back and says, hey, I want to make these custom menu holders for my tables. He sends me a little prototype. It's something that would kind of get bolted kind of underneath or to the side of the table. And so I created a 3D model for him. I did 3D modeling services. I wasn't really sure what to charge, so I just Googled around what to charge for 3D modeling services. And at the time, and whatever websites came up, $40 was kind of what I was seeing, so I charged $40 for 3D modeling services in SketchUp. So I made a couple $100 for that, and then I started printing these menu holders for him. And again, he's like, I need 60 of them. Yes. So these things took about like 6 hours to print, and I don't want to give you the wrong number. I don't even know if it matters, but I don't know if I was charging $35 a piece or $20. I don't even know, but I know it was worth my time. Because I started, after doing jobs that wasn't worth my time, like, I want to do something that's actually going to be worth my time. So I was making a decent amount from it. He needed a lot of these, so it was just simple repeat work, turn and burn. As far as how I came across that price of what to charge him, I took my STL file and I just sent it to 3 other 3D printing companies. And I said, hey, can you give me a quote on this part? And I sent it to 2 local companies and 1 national company. And they all came back, I don't know what the price was at the time, but here, and I literally just cut that in half. So I'm like, I feel like I'm giving him a good price. It's half the price, and it's still, you know, comfortable for me. I'm making, you know, a decent amount for myself too. So I think all in all, with this first client, I made somewhere around $2,000 to $2,500, and it was super cool. Between him and my next client, had a few individuals who had product invention ideas, met up with them to talk about their idea, did a little design and prototyping work, made a couple $100, $200 to $400 or something, nothing too big. And then I got my second client. This client I really liked. It's probably my favorite client, not because they were cool, they were a little more businessy like, but it was repeat work. So it was like clockwork. Every 2, 3, 4 weeks, they had another project for me over and over. And I wasn't making a lot per project. They were probably only $200 to $300 at a time, but it was just consistent work. So I really liked that aspect a lot. What they did, which I thought was really cool, is they had these clamps, and they needed me to 3D print 2 mold halves that they would use for sand casting, and they would actually sell that metal part to a customer. So I thought that was cool. That never crossed my mind as an application for 3D printing. So selling parts to these people. They're a little more professional. The other guy he just wrote me just a personal check. I didn't even know how to receive payments, so that worked out great for the other guy. These people, a little more formal, they're like, send us an invoice. I'm like, I don't know how to do that, so I'm just Googling around like invoice templates, kind of like freaking out. Then I just came across PayPal. Found out you can create free invoices on PayPal, super easy. I'll probably maybe show one up on the screen here. Super easy template. You can just create line items, you know, part 1 or part A, this quantity, this amount, part B, this quantity, this amount. Very easy way to pay, and it's a little more professional, so that worked out well. So then after that, or kind of while that was going on, I was still getting requests from individuals. A lot of people wanted to know if I could offer engraving, laser cutting services. And I really wanted to start expanding my service offerings, and so I started looking into laser cutters. The first one I came across was the Glowforge. I don't know who's in charge of the marketing, but it was brilliant. The first time I saw that promo video, I'm like, I'm sold, I want one now. And I'm talking to my wife about it. I'm like, hey, I paid off my $400 CR10. Surely I could pay off this $4,000 laser cutter. It took a long time to pay it off. I had no idea what I'm doing. I'm just chasing a passion. I want to leave my death cubicle that I hate. I want to do my own thing. So I bought the laser cutter. 2 months, I did a few jobs for people, nothing significant. 2 months after using it, my exhaust hose is slipping off the back of the machine. There's no easy way to hold it on. I create a little 3D printed exhaust adapter part, put it on Etsy, start selling. I create another variation of an exhaust adapter, put it on Etsy, that starts selling. And then by the third product, it became a full-time business. So that's where I'm at today. So some of my kind of summary conclusion thoughts for you would be, from my experience, this whole thing hinges on your client. The client can make and break your whole business, which I think is kind of a good thing because you really only need one good client to make a business. You could throw out, your fishing line into the pond wherever you're at, and you might get a great client the first month. Maybe it takes you 6 months to get a good client, but theoretically, you just need one great client who has repeat work and who doesn't mind paying, who has money and doesn't mind paying you for your work. So that's kind of encouraging. I tried some freelancer companies, had no success whatsoever. There's always that one guy who joined that freelance site like the day it launched, and he's got like 1,000 reviews and everyone wants to choose him, and you're sitting there with no reviews and no one wants to take a risk on you. So I tried that, had no success. I tried Facebook ads, paid money for it, nothing came of that. Craigslist just seemed to work out. Not saying that is the way to go. That's just in my layperson, no marketing experience. That was just what came to my mind and eventually what worked out for me and led me to where I am now. So the best advice I ever got from someone was my friend Ryan. And I'm like, I just want to be here. I just want to be creating products, prototyping, product development stuff. And he's like, just start moving in that direction. And that's would be my encouragement to you. Just start moving in that direction. And this thing can sabotage you. I am super analytical. I'm trying to solve problems before I even encounter them. What happens when that customer wants ABS or some nylon carbon fiber composite? I don't know how to print with that stuff. Well, you'll figure it out when you get there. I actually had that. Some customer wanted that. It was Nylon X is what I used. I had no idea how to print with that stuff. I'm watching videos by Alec on Matter Hackers, how to use this stuff. I had this big thick blanket that's draped over my CR10 to try and keep all the heat in there, super fire hazard. And I'm using glue sticks and hairspray, and finally I got something that worked. But you'll figure it out when you get there. Just start moving in that direction. Sometimes you just need to shut this thing off, let that impulse in here lead you, and just start going in that direction. You'll figure it out when you get there. Don't stress out about your name, your logo. Honestly, people don't care. Think Google. I can imagine like people like, hey, what's your business called? Google. Google, what the heck is Google? What the heck is Zillow? People are just making up words. But the product or service that you offer is what makes that name great, not the other way around. A great, cool product or a cool logo or company name isn't going to make your company. Great products and services make that name. So don't stress about your name, logo, all that stuff. Just start taking on jobs and just see where it leads you. So I hope this video was an encouragement to you in some form or fashion. Hopefully it was relatable. If you guys ever want to connect with me, I love hearing from you guys. I learn a ton from you guys, cool, so I always appreciate your comments. If you want to connect with me on a more of a personal note, shoot me an email, joe@martinsonmanufacturing.com, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.